Exactly how many kinds of monsters are there in Stranger Things? Which of them is the scariest, and why? Or maybe we haven't met the scariest monster yet. At the end of this video, you'll hear the crazy theory about Eleven and her connection to the Upside Down that might be closer than we thought. Hi, my name's Dylan, and you are watching Awesome Movies. The Stranger Things gang has fought a good deal of different monsters throughout the 3 seasons, and all of them seem to be linked. After all, they all came to Indiana from the Upside Down. Our top list of monsters from this dark dimension is only loosely based on their hierarchy, and has more to do with the level of havoc they caused in Hawkins. And the countdown begins with number 6, the Vines. Technically, they're not the classic monsters, but hey, plants can be murderous too. Now, we cannot be totally positive that all the vines we see in Stranger Things are of this nature or just some of them. But what is for sure is that if you see these nasty tendrils, it means that the gate to the Upside Down is open. The vines coil throughout the Upside Down and crawl out of the gate as soon as they can. They even seem to be sentient, and they are certainly predators, as they have a tendency to grab whoever is close. In Season 1, it was Will Byers, and in Season 2, it was Chief Hopper. So it means that they are also pretty strong. The vines also somehow connect the two worlds, filtering into our dimension and inhabiting the tunnels under the Hawkins laboratory. And this is where we learn that they are even more dangerous than they appear to be, as they are most likely connected to the Mind Flayer. In case you don't remember, this was proven by Dr. Owens when he exposed the tendril to a flame, and got a simultaneous reaction from both the Vine and Will, who was possessed by the shadow monster at the time. And another danger of the vines is that they are probably using humans as hosts for eggs, which later become Demodogs and, eventually, Demogorgons. But how can you fight the vines? Well, like all other monsters that come from the Upside Down, they can't stand heat, so setting them on fire is the best way to stop them from spreading. Or you can just attack them with a bat, like Steve did. Number 5. Demodogs. We've just mentioned how the vines seem to plant eggs into humans. Let us remind you how. In Season 1, when Chief Hopper and Joyce Byers finally found her abducted son Will, one of the slimy tendrils went into his mouth, down his throat, and into his lungs. Hopper pulled it out, and for a while, everything seemed to be fine. But later, Will coughed up a nasty slug-like thing, which turned out to be alive. It found its way through the drain, and was later found by Dustin on Halloween. As I'm sure you remember, the creature was kinda cute and loved Three Musketeer bars, so Dustin didn't hesitate to put it into his turtle's tank and name him D'Artagnan, or Dart for short. What he didn't know, and learned a bit too late, is that Dart is actually an intermediate phase of development of a much more dangerous creature, a Demogorgon. Dart soon grew bigger and transformed into an adolescent form of a Demogorgon, a Demodog. It got its moniker because it walks on all fours and resembles a large and hideous dog. Dart escapes Dustin's place, and next time the gang sees him, he's already part of a pack of Demodogs. These creatures are strong and agile, but the scariest thing about them is their petal mouth with rows of sharp teeth. Moreover, Demodogs, commanded by the Mind Flayer, tend to viciously attack humans, and poor Bob unfortunately became their victim. However, Dart seemed to be able to block the orders of the Mind Flayer to some extent, as he chose not to attack Dustin and his friends. So, how can you beat a Demodog? Steve Harrington's method is still the best. He managed to fight 3 of these baddies with a spiked baseball bat, though he didn't kill any of them. This is understandable, as the skin of a Demodog is bulletproof. Yeah, we're not kidding. The only way to kill a Demodog is to close the gate to the Upside Down, like Eleven did in Season 2. Number 4. The Demogorgon. This monster terrorized Hawkins in Season 1, and we still see it in our nightmares. The predatory humanoid creature came to our world from the Upside Down as a result of the experiments that were conducted on Eleven. The gate between the dimensions appeared to be big enough to let in a monster that immediately started to prey on humans. It was monikered a Demogorgon after the biggest villain in the board game Dungeons & Dragons. And with its impressive size and hideous petal mouth full of thousands of sharp teeth, it is terrifying. The long arms and legs of the Demogorgon end in sharp claws, its skin is bulletproof, and its screeching roar is menacing. Moreover, in addition to all this, the creature is incredibly strong and even has telepathic or telekinetic abilities. Even setting it on fire cannot kill a Demogorgon, because it can escape to the Upside Down and immediately reappear somewhere else, at Hawkins Middle School for example, where this monster was finally blown to smithereens by Eleven. Oh yes, it really was defeated and destroyed. though we don't know how many other Demogorgons might dwell in the Upside Down. And what we do know for sure is that these creatures can breed using the abducted humans, and that somewhere in Russia, there is at least one more Demogorgon. We'll talk more about that later, but for now, let's proceed with our countdown. The third place on our list belongs to the Mind Flayer, also known as the Shadow Monster. After 3 seasons of Stranger Things, we already know that the Mind Flayer is a hostile entity that apparently rules the dark dimension of the Upside Down. It seems to control the vines, the Demodogs, and probably the Demogorgon too. So why isn't it number 1 on our list of monsters? The fact is that the Shadow Monster, aka the Mind Flayer, has never left the Upside Down, although it uses its superpowers and other monsters to attack the human world. It also possessed Will for some time and used him to spy on people as part of its plan to wipe out Hawkins, and the rest of humanity as well, apparently. The young citizens of Hawkins managed to defeat its minions, and even destroy some of them, but they have never met the mastermind behind them. So we don't know the full potential of its evil powers, yet. That's why the second place on our list of the scariest monsters from the Upside Down is held by the abominable incarnation of the Mind Flayer, the Spider Monster. In Season 3, the gang faced this huge, tentacled monstrosity, made up from the melted bodies of its victims. The Mind Flayer created the Spider Monster in an attempt to kill Eleven, who has so far thwarted the Mind Flayer's attempts to obliterate humanity. Using Billy Hargrove as its vessel, the Mind Flayer possessed a number of people and melted them, along with a gazillion rodents, into a goo to construct the creepy, giant, 6-legged monster. The plan almost succeeded, as the Spider Monster managed to injure Elle. As a result of this, Eleven lost her powers and was on the verge of being killed by the monster. Fortunately, Billy returned to his real self and found the strength to defy the Mind Flayer. At the same time, Joyce and Hopper closed the gate to the Upside Down, which severed the Spider Monster's link with its creator. We don't know if it damaged the Mind Flayer in any way, but the Spider Monster was definitely destroyed, and it seems that the door to the Upside Down, beneath the city of Hawkins, has been closed for good. So, which monster takes first place on our list? Number 1, the worst monster ever. The fact is that the creators and showrunners of Stranger Things, the Duffer Brothers, revealed that Season 4 is going to be the biggest and most frightening season yet. They also professed that a new horror is beginning to surface, something long buried, something that connects everything. We suspect that the mysterious dark world of the Upside Down is inhabited by creatures even more terrifying than the Demogorgon or the Mind Flayer. So we bet we'll see the scariest monster ever in Stranger Things Season 4. And as long as we're talking about what we might see in the upcoming season, we can't help mentioning one particular theory. This theory believes that the biggest monster ever seen on Stranger Things will come, not from the other dimension, but from a person we think we know so well. What if the Mind Flayer is the upside-down version of Eleven? As you might remember, Lucas suspected it from the very beginning, and Elle kind of acknowledged it, saying, "I am the monster." And what if she didn't meet a Demogorgon in that blank nothingness space, but created it? It would totally explain why the upside-down monsters have the same telekinetic powers as Eleven. Yeah, this idea is mind-blowing, and it's not the only one. Yet another theory goes that Elle will become bad and turn into a version of the Dark Phoenix from the X-Men comics. This theory is supported by the references to this classic comic series dropped here and there in seasons 1 and 3, like the name of Dustin's radio transmitter, Cerebro. Dustin has even suggested that Eleven could be a mutant. But the biggest hint about the future events is the title of the first episode of Season 4, The Hellfire Club. In the X-Men comics, the members of the Hellfire Club have manipulated Jean Grey into unleashing her destructive side. So it's quite plausible that some new powerful baddies from the government, or from Russia, will try and succeed to lure Eleven to the dark side, and she will become the real monster herself. But we will only have a chance to see if this theory is correct when the 4th season of Stranger Things airs. So, which monster from our list do you think is the scariest? Do you have any other ideas about what our gang will face in the upcoming season of Stranger Things? Don't be shy to let us know in the comments below. And thanks for staying with Awesome Movies.